everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Contrast Plus painting tutorial from the Age of Sigmar, and today we are painting the brand new Beastlord for the Beasts of Chaos. Yes, here he is. He's a fantastic little, tiny little miniature. Well, he's quite imposing when you put him next to the other beasts, but when you put him next to a Chaos Warrior, for example, he's still quite big. Anyway, he's been sent to me early by Games Workshop to build up and paint for all of you, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. And this should be pretty quick and effective, and we've got a really cool skin recipe for him. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to start off there. He's been primed in Grey Seer, and the colour we're going to be using first is Darkoath Flesh. Now we're going to be applying this over the top of his chest and his face, but not over the top of his legs, because that's all fur. But we're just going to be taking the Darkoath Flesh, I'm going to be sticking it all on there, just like this. I'm going to go all the way around the back as well. Just like this. And you've got his face and his eyes as well up there to paint as well. Don't forget them. And as mentioned, we're going to come over the top of the back as well. Just like this. So with that Darkoath Flesh applied, just whilst we're waiting for it to dry, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Skeleton Horde and we're going to apply this over the top of the chin hairs, the armpit hairs, and his head hair. As well as this poor individual's hair as well. Might as well get it done whilst we're here. We're going to do this over the top of any skulls as well. As well as this kind of clump of hair just here, but not over the top of the hair at the bottom of his feet, of his legs I should say. And so with that Skeleton Horde all applied, we're then going to take some Militarum Green and we're going to apply this over the top of this bag. Just here. Like so. So with that Militarum Green applied, we're still waiting for things to dry, so what we're going to do is we're going to take some Flesh Tearers Red, and I'm going to apply this over the top of the tabard and the red cloth around his face. So with all that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to use this for a lot of different stuff. So we're going to be applying this over the top of all of the legs and all of the leg hair. We're going to be applying this over the top of all of his skin, except his face. And we're applying this over the top of the all of the the skeleton horde hair that we've done. And we're going to be applying this over the top of the soft wraps on the weapons. So we're going to take that Agrax Earthshade on our brush, and we're just going to start down here on the leg. We're going to apply this all over. Like this. Make sure we get all the way around. Like so. We will do the other leg in just a moment, but to continue on with our shading, we've got his beard hair just here, then we've got his flesh that we're also going to be shading, as well as the hair under his armpit. Again, we're not doing the face, so don't worry about his face. Just like this. So with that all done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Wyldwood and Black Templar. I'm going to use this to add that really dark skin. What we're going to be doing is a bit of blending here. So there's some areas where we don't have to do any blending. So for example, just here on the arm, we can just cover over these areas with this mix. Just like that. I'm going to be really careful with how much we've got on our brush, because this is really strong stuff. So if you have too much, you might overwhelm the miniature. And what we do need to do is we need to do a bit of blending here around the armpit. So we're going to take this mix, I'm going to apply this over the top like this. Then we're just going to come over the bicep like that. We're going to wash the brush, and then with a clean brush, we're just going to smooth out the transition by just lifting some of that paint off like that. So it kind of fades into our shaded Darkoath Flesh mix like that. Whereas on the back here, what we will need to do is we basically just need to cover over the whole thing. But when we get around here and onto the tummy, you don't want to kind of go further than what you can see from the back. So going to get this all over like this, up to that muscle just there. I'm going to come over the bicep a little bit again from the back. I'm going to wash the brush, and then just around there, we're going to smooth it out. Just lift off some of that paint like so. It's looking pretty good. I'm just going to pop a little bit more in down there into the deep end. Just going to come up around here a little bit. I'm going to wash the brush and just remove a little bit of that just there, like that, so we get a nice blend going on. Under the other arm, we pretty much just need to cover the entire of the arm. So we're just going to do that apart from the hair. I'm just going to come up into a little bit just there like that. If you do get some on any of the hair, you can just lift some of it off. Just going to come in here. Make sure we get it all over the hand, like that. It's looking pretty good. So now we've got the legs to do. So what we're going to do is we're just going to demonstrate on this leg here. It's basically the same thing. We want to get this all over, but we don't want to kind of get it on the hair. We want to blend it into the hair. So we're just going to start at the knee, and we're going to come all the way down like this, just going over a little bit of the hair, like that. We're then going to wash the brush, and then we're just going to smooth it out by dabbing away and lifting off some of that paint towards the hairy bits. Same along this section just here. Wash the brush. Like that. And you just want to continue this on both legs and all the way around the miniature. So with that done, all of the skin is looking pretty awesome right about now. So what we're going to do is move on. We're going to move on to painting in all of the armor, and the color that we're going to be using for this is Black Legion. So we're just going to start slapping this on over the top of the tummy, this leg plating, the bits of armor on the arms, the braces, this sort of helmet. All of it. And so with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Wyldwood. I'm going to apply this over the top of the hafts of the axe and over the top of his hooves. And so with that now done, what we're going to do is we're going to take some Gore-Grunta Fur. I'm going to apply this over the top of these little bits of string, just here. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to work on his horns. Now we're going to be using two colours for this, Aggaros Dunes and Cygor Brown. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking Aggaros Dunes on our brush first. I'm going to apply this all over and then we're going to blend in some of that Cygor Brown towards the tips. So we're going to put the Aggaros Dunes over the top of the horn first. Just like that. Then we're going to wash the brush, grab a little bit of Cygor Brown, and then around about halfway, we're going to apply the Cygor Brown over the top. Like that. We then take a tiny little bit more of Aggaros Dunes, and we use this to just smooth the two colours together so we get that blend from the bone into the darker brown, like that. I'm going to do this across all of the horns, so we'll do another one just here. There we go, so there's the Aggaros Dunes going over the top, like that. We then wash the brush, grab the Cygor Brown, and around about halfway, apply this, like that sort of thing. Wash the brush, a little bit more Aggaros Dunes, and then we smooth out the transition. Like that. So with that now done, we've only got a couple of colours left to apply, and these are, well, mostly metallics. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with metallics. We're going to take some thinned down Iron Warriors. We're going to apply this over the top of all of our silver details, which is at this point just going to be, for now, both of the axe heads. I should also point out, actually, we are going to be doing these little rune stones down here. Just like this. And so with that done, we're then going to take some thinned down Runelord Brass and we're going to apply this to the two bits of trim we've got. So we've got some just here on the shoulder and we've got some just here on the bracer. In fact, I've lied to you again. There's a third bit, and it's the 3 spikes. Just here. And so with that Runelord Brass applied to those little bits, we've then got one last base coat to apply, and that's going to be some Darkoath Flesh once again over the top of the face. Just down here. So with that done, it's now time to add a couple of shades to the model, because he's, well, almost there. What we're going to do is we're going to take some Agrax Earthshade, and we're going to use this over the top of all the silver, the brass, and the black. And with that Agrax Earthshade applied, we're then going to take a little bit of Gryph-Charger Grey. We're just going to add this around the eyes of the skull. And around the nose. We're going to add a little bit of this on the horns of the skull. Like that. And we're going to add this around the eyes of our head. And I hope you'll forgive me, but there is one last base coat to apply, and that is some Volupus Pink over the top of the Beastlord's tongue. Like that. And then we also apply this over the top of his teeth, which will look weird, but don't worry. Finally, we do have one last shade to apply, and that is going to be some Reikland Fleshshade. And we're going to apply this over the top of his chest and his face. So with that done, our Beastlord is now what I would call a war hipster battle ready, and he looks pretty fantastic. However, we are going to do a couple of things now to take him to the next level. And one of those is to take some black Templar. I'm going to apply this over the top of the flat part of the axe, not the cutting blade. Now, we don't need loads here, because we just want to kind of still retain some of that shaded silver goodness. We're just going to apply this like that over the flat of the axe. And we're going to do this on both sides. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to add some highlights. Now the first one we're going to add is Gorthor Brown. We're going to be using this to highlight all of the dark flesh. So this is his back, his arms, and his legs. And we're just going to be picking out the edges of his muscles. As well as any scars. Like this. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Gorthor Brown and Flayed One Flesh, and we're going to use this to highlight all of the skin, but we're going to do it in a couple of different ways. So for example, on our paler skin, we're just going to do full highlights here, picking out the edges. Like this. Whereas on our darker skin, which we've highlighted with Gorthor Brown on its own, we're just going to pick out the sharpest points. And so with that Flayed One Flesh and Gorthor Brown mix applied, what we then do is we take Flayed One Flesh on its own, and we're going to use this to pick out all of the sharpest details. So we've got his nipple just here, for example. We've got the curve of his pectoral. Like that. We're just doing this on the kind of the brighter flesh at the moment. So this is going to now include the face. So with that done, quite a large amount of the flesh is now finished, except for down here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Rakarth Flesh, and we're going to use this to pick out all of our leg hair. So with that Rakarth Flesh applied, we're then going to take some thinned down Pallid Witch Flesh, and we're going to use this now to highlight all of the hair all over his body. So for example, back here on his head, like that sort of thing. Whereas on our slightly darker hair, for example on his legs, we're just going to pick out the tips. like that sort of thing. In addition, I'm going to use this Pallid Witch Flesh. I should actually just demonstrate as well. We're highlighting his beard hair. Like that. I'm going to use this to pick out the teeth. We just want to leave a little bit of that Volupus Pink closest to the jaw. Just like that sort of thing. So with that done, all of the skin and all of the hair is now finished, except we do just need to do one last little thing, and that is his eyes. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a teeny tiny amount of Black Legion, and we're going to apply this over the top of the eyeballs. Like that. So with that Black Legion applied, we then take a really diddy amount of Screaming Skull. We're going to add a little bit of a dot in the back corner of each of the eyes, just like that. And like that. So with that done, a huge amount of the Beastlord is now finished. So what we're going to do, still sticking with Screaming Skull, is going to use this to highlight the hair on the corpse, or rather the beheaded person just here. We're going to use this to highlight the skull just down here, and the one on his tummy. So with that done, I also highlighted the horns, I forgot to mention it, and well, our Beastlord has taken a huge leap forward. He's looking pretty fantastic. So what we're going to do is move on to our next colour. That's going to be the black, and what we're going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Russ Grey. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our black armour. So with that Russ Grey all applied, we're then going to take some Fenrisian Grey. We're going to apply this to the sharpest corners. So with that done, all the black is finished, so we're going to take some Evil Sunz Scarlet now. I'm going to use this to highlight the red. And with that Evil Sunz Scarlet applied, we then take some Fire Dragon Bright and we use this to add a highlight to the sharpest points on all the red. So with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Iron Hands Steel and we're going to use this to highlight all of the silver, including the bits that we went over with Black Templar. And so with that done, believe it or not, we only have one last highlight to apply, and that is going to be some Canoptek Alloy to all of our brass areas. So with that done, our Beastlord is pretty much finished. There's just two things that we're going to do. Is we're going to add a little bit of weathering to him because his armor is all pitted and rusted and old. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some Nihilakh Oxide and we're going to apply this around the metal that is on the black armor. So for example, around these spikes just down here, I'm just going to add a little bit of Nihilakh Oxide around the base. And so with that Nihilakh Oxide applied to all those areas, what we then do is we take some Skrag Brown and we thin it down with 4 or 5 parts water, and we're going to drop this into any of the little pits and things around the models. So we've got some just here. It will dry a bit darker. This is that kind of like rustiness. Like that. And so all that's left to do now is his base, and to finish him off in the same style as the rest of your army. And so with his base complete, our Beastlord is now finished, ready to join my slaves to darkness in many ways.
I've always wanted to do a Beast of Chaos army to go for the Grand Army of Chaos, and well, the model range is just that bit too old, whereas this guy kind of speaks of really cool things to come. So I hope that we get a lot more Beasts of Chaos, because then finally the ravening hordes of the Beastmen will join the Grand Army of Chaos plan, as well, there's so much to do, but this guy's awesome. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you want to support me further like these legends and bosses on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Alternatively, you could become a YouTube member by heading to the channel page and clicking on the join button just here, just like these amazing, wonderful people have done. And if you really like this video or you just want to shoot me some support, you can click on the thanks button just below this video. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.